So let us create the holes at first, then we can finally finish the product with the chamfer. So first let us work with the hole in the front view. And in order to create the hole in the front view, I have to click on the hole, go to the surface where I want to create the hole. So let me reduce the diameter at first to prevent any confusion in the views. Now I have to assign the placement. Before that, let me turn on the planes because I have hidden it earlier. Now we have to see the geometry and see what is the placement of the hole. So you can observe that the center of the hole, as mentioned in the earlier video or as discussed in the earlier video, is at a distance of 22 units from the top surface. So this is one reference what we have. So we can utilize one handle and we can go to the top surface and we can just leave it at the edge. You can see it is highlighting over there. Maybe you can observe it more clearly in your screen. So we have the reference number 1 assigned. The distance of this particular reference should be 22 units. We can alter it over here, or we can go to the placement and we can set the offset distance to be 22. So we have varied the distance right now. We have to assign the next placement or the next reference. So technically you can assume that the hole is in alignment with the vertical plane, right? Because it is exactly symmetric. So we can simply select the drag handle and we can select the plane. So we have to assign the offset distance. So if we want the axis of the hole to be coinciding the plane, we have to keep it 0 basically. So it will be coinciding with the plane. There is another option over here. We can simply select the align option. So in this particular option, we need not enter any value as 0 or anything. It automatically aligns itself with the vertical plane what we have selected. So we can see this more clearly in the front view. So you can see the hole is aligned with respect to the vertical plane and it is at a distance of 22 units as presented in the front view. So what is the next thing what we have to assign? We have to assign the shape. We have to assign the diameter. So it is a 22 diameter through hole. So we can type the diameter and change from blind to through all. And you can see the hole is created. We can simply press OK. So I'll just click OK. We have the hole ready with us. Now let us create another holes which are to be created utilizing the top view. So we have the holes on the left hand and on the right hand. So generally we shouldn't call it as hand, but for explanation purpose, I'm just calling it. So let me just create the hole, and before that, let us analyze the placement of the hole. Okay. So let us work with the first hole on the left hand. So if you're working with this particular hole, we may notice that the center of the hole is at a distance of 20 units from the left edge. So this is one reference what we are having. But we require another reference to assign the placement of the hole. The another placement could be the symmetric axis. We may notice that the holes are aligned with respect to the symmetric plane, the central plane of the geometry. So that was the reason I have extruded the geometry by utilizing the symmetry command, because this will be helpful for us to place other features, because we can observe that we have the vertical plane exactly at the center distance of the total extrusion. So we may utilize this plane and we may utilize the edge for placing the first hole, and correspondingly we can work for the other holes, because all the holes are aligned at the at the central plane and their distances are with respect to each other. For example, if we have the second hole, it is at a distance of 35 units from the first hole. So when we are creating the second hole, we can create or we can select the reference of the first hole. So in order to avoid any confusion, let me just start working on it and show you more clearly. So I have turned on the hole command. I will simply select the surface. So we can place it anywhere. I'll just reduce the diameter because I don't want the screen to look clumsy for me to get confused. So the first job over here is to assign the drag handles, the reference handles. So first is the outer edge or the surface. I have selected it. You can check up over here and you can enter the distance to be 20 units. So I've entered the distance 20 units. The second task is to select the central plane. So I'm selecting the central plane right now, and you can see automatically I'm getting a hole over here, but I have to assign the distance. So if we have two options over here. We can either type 0 and it will automatically be in alignment with the central plane, but this is not a good thing. We have an option called align. We have to utilize that option. So the placement of the hole has been completed. Now we have to assign the dimensions of the hole. So I'll just go to shape for that. So let us look at the dimensions at first. The outer circle or the outer hole diameter is equal to 17.5, and we have a number called 4 into diameter 17.5. So what does this mean? This particular dimension represents the 4 holes. So this is a kind of principle or method of assigning the dimensions in the views to prevent any confusion and clumsiness in the drawings. So instead of assigning the diameter for all the holes, we may just write a note over here, 4 into diameter 17.5. So this is understood that the other holes is also having the diameter of 17.5. I'm sorry. So I'll just work on it right now. And we can also observe in the front view that this is a counter bore hole. Clear? So it is having a distance of 11 units inside. So firstly what I'll do is I'll just turn on I'll go to the standard. Clear? I'll turn out the counter bore and let me enter the outer diameter at first, which is equal to 17.5. And what is the depth of this first hole? That is 11 units. So I can enter over here. This is 11 units. And if you are observing the shape of the hole from the front view, it is a kind of through hole. We can see that it is having an extension, but it is not a through hole. It is up to the next. So this is the shape of the hole, what we are creating. And we have to enter the inner dimension, and the inner diameter is mentioned in the front view. It is over here. This is 4 into diameter 11. This again represents the diameter of 4 holes. So these are 4 diameters. So I'll just enter the first hole diameter, which is 11 units. So you can just observe over here in the dynamic view, we got the hole ready with us. So we can simply press OK over here. Let me verify the top diameter. It is 17.5. The depth is 11. It is observed or presented in the front view. I'll just press OK right now. So we got the first hole ready with us. So let us move forward and create the remaining holes.